Good evening, my friends. Today, still in Jeremiah, man, and I'm loving it. Jeremiah is a great book to read, and honestly, I like when I read Jeremiah. Like I use this as a gauge to see where we're at as a nation or as the world, and being ready for God's wrath and judgment, because I believe Jeremiah is like a foreshadowing of what the people in the world or in the church will be like before God's wrath comes on the earth. And so Jeremiah 5, I think it starts out with, yeah, God's telling Jeremiah, if you run to and fro in the streets, if you can find one person in Jerusalem that's righteous, I'll forgive the whole city and I'll turn away my wrath. And Jeremiah can't even find one person in the city of Jerusalem where the temple is. And so that's just a sign of like the reprobate church, which is going to provoke God's wrath. So anyways, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how we do see like what it's looking like for this generation of wrath that is coming. Jeremiah 5, so there is, you can't find a righteous person in the city. And then God says this. He says, among my people are wicked men who lie in wait for victims like a hunter hiding in a blind. They continually set traps to catch people. Like a cage filled with birds, their homes are filled with evil plots. And now they are great and rich. They are fat and sleek, and there is no limit to their wicked deeds. They refuse to provide justice to orphans and deny the rights of the poor. Should I not punish them for this, says the Lord? Should I not avenge myself against such a nation? A horrible and shocking thing has happened in this land. The prophets give false prophecies, and the priests rule with an iron hand. Worse yet, my people like it that way. But what will you do when the end comes? And I just thought that was interesting. Worse yet, out of all these things, this wickedness, these wicked rulers, these people that are laying traps, setting traps, catching people, preying on the victim, preying on orphans and widows. But worse yet, my people like it that way. And it's interesting, like, and I thought about Timothy. It says in the last times people will heap teachers unto themselves, that scratch their itching ears. They tell them everything they want to hear. And then also what's interesting is it talks about the prophets are giving false prophecies. So they're prophesying to them and saying to them, first of all, most of the prophets in Jeremiah's day, the false prophets, were telling the people of Jerusalem that peace was coming their way. They didn't warn them of any destruction or warn them of any wrath that could come from God or judgment or whatever it was. They were telling them, hey, Jeremiah's telling you that this city is going to be destroyed, and other prophets are, of the Lord, the few of them that there were telling the people that God was going to judge and destroy Israel. And the false prophets would say, no, Israel is not going to be destroyed. This is, we have the temple, we have the law. They would point to things that God had given them in the past and think that they were just free to do whatever they wanted. So that's a sign of the times. You're going to have false prophets prophesying to wicked people who are believers, who are reprobate and, just profaning the name of the Lord, telling them, God's judgment isn't coming and peace and prosperity to you, right? Promising them prosperity to get rich themselves off of the people. And then also the priests are ruling with an iron hand. And I was thinking about this. Um, you know, it's kind of like that in churches a lot today. I mean, not every church. I'm not saying every church. There are good churches out there still, but you see this rise of like the movie star Christianity, where it's just about this one man. You know what I mean? And everybody's looking to this man, and it's basically like they're clinging to every word from his mouth. And it's about this one person who somehow is the only one that has the word of the Lord, and is really not following the guideline that Paul set for the church, that, you know, two or three should prophesy. It's not just about one pastor or one leader in the church that should be who everybody is going to for wisdom. And you know, a pastor um, should be shepherding the sheep, like close, intimate relationships with the people that he's leading, not just showing up, coming out, grabbing a microphone, dropping some revelation or word that they got from the Lord and peacing out. And they don't even know, you know, they probably don't even know 99% of the people that are there. This is not, you know, God's will. And also, there's this thing like whatever I say goes, you know, like submitting. A lot of these pastors are like, you need to submit to my authority and submit to what I'm doing. And even teaching that, you know, you're under my covering, so you have to do what I tell you to do. And they like almost even control these people's lives, even as far as like financial decisions and all kinds of stuff, which is mind-boggling. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that. I'd love for you to share that with me, but I've seen some crazy stuff where it's like, you know, and it reminds me of the priest rule with an iron hand, right? And I'm like, wow. And just reading this the other day, I just thought about that. I'm like, this is what the leadership is going to look like in the reprobate church. And we already see it today. So, you know, Jesus says, you know, pay attention to the seasons. You know, we don't know the day or the hour, but we will see the season that this judgment is approaching. And I don't know if it's going to be the judgment of the world, or maybe it's just the judgment on America. I have yet to determine that yet. In my mind, I see the writing on the wall for America, but there's still a church, there's still a remnant. I'm still hopeful. I still, you know, like I think about if I went through, if the Lord said right now, go to and fro in the streets, and if you could find one righteous person in St. Louis, I would forgive the whole city. In my mind, I believe, I mean, I know that I would find righteous people. I'm in fellowship with righteous people. Um, but so I don't think we're there yet, at least maybe not in St. Louis, you know. So let me know what you think. And what do you think about this, man? I mean, how close are we? How can you think about the prosperity gospel? All these people making themselves great and rich in planes, and oh man, it blows my mind like how they have no fear of God. You know what I mean? I just can't believe it. And I fear for them because it's going to be terrible on the day of judgment for them. God bless.